Last time on King of the Fourth Quarter.
Y'all, at 300,000 subscribers, I'll do some videos without a hat on. And we back. This is a monumental moment in the King of the Fourth Quarter YouTube channel. It's been close to 2 years. Yes, I went back to look. Close to 2 years since I've done a video without a hat on. These White Sox hats have been part of me forever. But I made a promise to y'all, and y'all been fulfilling y'all side of the promise, so it's my turn. Let's just do it. I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, you've already seen this and all, but for y'all that don't follow me, it's the first time y'all seeing my hair in 2 years. Go follow me on social media. Today we're doing another one of those videos named Let's Agree / Let's Disagree. I got this idea from Anthony Fantano. He's another YouTuber out there that does this with music. If you love music of any kinds, Anthony Fantano is a guy you definitely need to be subscribed to. But what he does, he goes onto Twitter and says, y'all, tweet me some of your craziest music opinions and all, and I'm gonna either agree with you or disagree with you. Well, I'm doing that, but y'all know we put a spin on it, and that's the NBA version. And today we're doing the Let's Argue. So out of the 700 people that replied to my tweet, I picked some of the ones I disagree with, and we're gonna have a civil argument. You know, in sports, no two people have the exact same opinion, so I picked some of the ones I don't agree with, and we're just gonna, disagree, but we're gonna have fun along the way. Let's get right into the first one. Tony Perez said the Chicago Bulls will make the playoffs. Listen, I've heard this a lot over the past couple weeks. This offseason, if you ask me, was a pretty solid one. We brought back Zach LaVine, we went out to get Jabari Parker, and then Lauri Markkanen put on some extra weight, and then he was playing overseas a little bit, and he looked like he was dominating those boys. And people keep asking me, Kenny, will the Bulls make the playoffs this year? This is a video named Let's Argue, so you can probably guess where I'm going with this. I don't think we're going to make the playoffs this year. But y'all know, if we did, I'm going to be in the stands at the first playoff game, but something tells me we just don't have enough to make the playoffs just yet. Think about our lineup. Chris Dunn is an above average defender. Zach LaVine below average, Jabari Parker below average, and based off the first year of Lauri Markkanen, below average. And then you put Wendell Carter Jr. there, who's a rookie, and very rarely do rookie big men defend well. It takes some time to get used to the NBA. I believe that we're going to have one of the worst defenses in the league, and I think it's going to be hard to make the playoffs having one of the worst defenses in the league. Now, I know the Cleveland Cavaliers did it last year. They were a bottom 5 defense and all, but they had LeBron. If you got LeBron on your team, it don't matter if you're the worst defense in the league. You're going to make the playoffs. We don't have a LeBron here. So, again, I think it's a long shot. Could it happen? It could definitely happen, but I'm going to say that we won't make the playoffs. Y'all got to think about it. Rebuilds take longer than a year. It will be magnificent if we made the playoffs in 1 year of rebuilding. But something tells me that's just not realistic, you know? I will be supporting my team 100% of the time. I will watch all 82 games, attend a few, but something tells me we may not be good enough to make the playoffs next year. But one thing we will be is exciting. With Zach LaVine and Jabari Parker, athletic freaks. Even with Jabari Parker's second ACL, he was super athletic in the second half of his season last year. Dog barked. And then with Lauri Markkanen stretching the floor and everything, I feel like we're going to be an exciting team, but I don't think we're going to be that good to make the playoffs. Supreme Brian says Sean Marks is a better executive than Danny Ainge because of what he has been able to do without his own team's draft picks. If you listen to Through the Wire, my podcast, new episode just dropped today, so go watch / listen. I am a huge fan of A, Sean Marks. I'm a huge fan of B, Kenny Atkinson, and I really liked the Brooklyn Nets last year. Keep that in mind as I go through this. I disagree with this. Though Sean Marks has done a phenomenal job with the Brooklyn Nets and is just a couple years being there, Danny Ainge is the best executive in the league. First of all, take a step back. He completely destroyed Billy King and the Brooklyn Nets with the Kevin Garnett trade. But that was years ago. Just think about what Danny Ainge has been able to do over the past couple years. That trade of trading basically the #1 pick to the 76ers for the number 3 pick and another first round pick, I think that's going to go down in history as one of the craziest trades ever because they got back Jayson Tatum. And I believe that Jayson Tatum is going to be a star. You traded down to get Jayson Tatum and also got another first round pick in exchange. And then based off the first year of Markelle Fultz, they completely fleeced the 76ers. Again, I believe that Markelle still will be good, but I'm basing it off just year #1. They completely fleeced the 76ers. Jayson Tatum just led them to the Eastern Conference Finals Game 7 against LeBron. Markelle Fultz didn't even play in the playoffs. Completely fleeced them. And it's not even just that. Danny Ainge has consistently made the right move here and there. This year, picking up Robert Williams, it is his rookie year and all, but he was projected to go in the lottery, and he fell all the way to the late 20s, picked him up. And if he could get Robert Williams to actually make his planes on time and stuff, answer his phone when he's being called, I think he could be an impactful player for them in a couple years. It just seems like Danny Ainge has just made the right decisions. He may be from the future. Yeah, he may be from the future. He can see, oh, Jayson Tatum's going to be a star. Let me go back in time and go trade for him. I think Sean Marks has done a beautiful job, but I also think Danny Ainge has done a magnificent job. So though I do agree with Sean Marks being great, he's not better than Danny Ainge. Logan says KAT is overrated, and 28 people agree with him. I think this is crazy. I don't know what people are saying about KAT. No, I don't think anybody's saying KAT is the best center in the league, because he's not. I would argue he may not even be the top 3 center, but if you're saying that KAT is not a top 5 center in his league, you are crazy. You're number 2. He averaged 25 points per game. You're number 3, you bring in Jimmy Butler, who's going to take more shots and all, whatever. He takes a step back, averages 21. But even then, 3 straight seasons haven't missed a single game. Only thing I can say about KAT is that he's not a great defender. And even that, you don't even have to be a great defender in this league anymore. You know, you can surround him with players that are good defenders. Last year, they paired him with Taj Gibson, who is a good defender. I don't understand this one. I wish he would have gave a little bit more of why he thinks that KAT is overrated, but based off pure skill, there's a reason KAT was a #1 pick. There's a reason he won Rookie of the Year. There's a reason he averaged 25 his sophomore year. He has yet to be an all-star or whatever. But wait, he was an all-star this year. I had to fact check it real quick. He was an all-star this year. And maybe you're basing this off of his playoff run this year, because in the playoffs he wasn't good. He averaged like 15 points per game, and he was silent for like 3 games in a row. So maybe that's what you're basing it off of. But I gotta say, I'm gonna take the longevity of his work of the 3 years he was very, very good over 5 playoff games. You know what I mean? And the playoffs is definitely where you want your players to be best. But it was his first time in the playoffs. It's very rare where players are very good in their first year in the playoffs. It did happen this offseason. Jayson Tatum was very good in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell was very good in the playoffs. And even Ben Simmons was very good in the playoffs. But then again, it's very rare that players are very good in their first year in the playoffs. Give it some time, man. It was 5 playoff games against the #1 team in the league. I think y'all wild on this one. Jack Hart said Jayson Tatum is super overrated. He put up 14 points a game in the regular season and a decent playoff run. There are plenty of other rookies better than him. That's laughable. The laughable part is there are plenty of other rookies better than him. Show me. Show me the receipts of rookies from last year that were better than Jayson Tatum. You can argue Donovan Mitchell. You can argue Ben Simmons, but even Ben Simmons doesn't classify as the 2017 draft class. Out of the 2017 draft class, who is better than Jayson Tatum? Quick look at the 2017 draft class. Was Markelle Fultz better? No. Was Lonzo better? No. Was Josh? No. The only guy, again, that you can argue is better is Donovan Mitchell. But nobody else in this draft class was remotely close to Donovan Mitchell and Jayson Tatum. Sure, we had plenty, like Dennis Smith Jr. had a good rookie season. Larry Markkinen had a good rookie season. Lonzo Ball had a good rookie season. But they weren't as good as Jayson Tatum and Donovan Mitchell. The real thing that's tripping me out is there's plenty of other rookies part. I just don't understand it. But here's my argument for the fact that Jayson Tatum is not overrated. He led a team to the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7 against the greatest player of this generation. Went head on with the greatest player in this generation and was this close and beating him in a playoff series. Not only in a playoff series, we're talking about a player that has reached, 8 straight finals. Jayson Tatum led a team that was this close of taking that away from him. And when I say led, I mean that he would average the most points per game. Take it one series at a time. The first series, the Boston Celtics were not that impressive because they did not win a game on the road. Jayson Tatum averaged 15 points per game. And then the second series, where the entire world was like the Philadelphia 76ers are about to win this series, Jayson Tatum averaged 24 points per game and destroyed that team. Destroyed the team. A series that we thought was going to go 7 games didn't even come close to that. And then we get to the Eastern Conference Finals where he goes out again and averages 19 points per game and was this close of taking that another finals appearance from LeBron James. I think you wild on this one, Jack. I think you tripping. Rash says draft picks are the most unreliable thing in the NBA and their trade value is way overrated. I don't agree with this. The most unreliable thing, draft picks are reliable if your scouts are good. You feel me? If your scouts are good, draft picks are the most valuable thing in the world. And even if your scouts are not good, think about this. In order for the Timberwolves to get Jimmy Butler, they traded this year's first round pick, the 7th overall, was turned into Larry Marketing, and then the previous year's pick, which is the 4th overall pick, and Chris Dunn. Those are draft picks that are valuable. You turn those 2 draft picks and then Zach LaVine into a star. Draft picks are valued the way they are because of how they can bring you in a bona fide star. Kyrie Irving was a draft pick that came from the Los Angeles Clippers. You trying to tell me that the Clippers wouldn't have been better if they kept that draft pick? Yes, they would. Draft picks are valued the way they are because they can bring you stars if your scouting team is right. And that's why you get into the point in 2018 where teams are not just throwing first round picks here and there. Billy King threw so many first round picks at the Celtics, and look where the Celtics are right now. Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum. And then they had a first round pick that they turned into Kyrie Irving in the Isaiah Thomas pick. Draft picks are amazing, and that's why they valued the way they are. Sad Vikings fan said Jimmy Butler is holding Andrew Wiggins back. Check Wiggins' stats when Jimmy was out. He is so much better. I did check the stats. He averaged like 22 points per game. Remember, Jimmy Butler missed a decent amount of time with his injury. But the thing is, they weren't winning games then. Jimmy Butler came back and they started to win games again. They were this close to missing the playoffs because when Jimmy Butler was out, they were losing games. So sure, Wiggins' individual stats may have been better, but for the sake of the team, Jimmy being there helps the team, and that's all that really matters. And that is it for today's video, boys. Thank y'all so much for watching. Hatless Kenny is here. You know, like Game San John Wall, Hoodie Mellow, Hatless Kenny. Yeah, 300K. Thank y'all so much. Peace.